If you're a founder, you know your focus is everything. It's your most valuable asset. But let's be real, it is under constant, relentless attack. The pings, the notifications, the endless scroll. It's like a digital storm. So this is your guide to navigating that storm, to finally reclaim the deep, meaningful focus that your work actually demands.
I mean, just look at this. It's the perfect metaphor for so many leaders today, isn't it? We're literally chained to the very tools that were supposed to give us freedom. And this isn't just some small annoyance. No, it's a silent saboteur, quietly dismantling your ability to think, to create, and to lead effectively.
And this quote, wow, it just hits home for so many of us. You started out with this incredible vision. You wanted to build something meaningful, right? But now, if you're honest, you feel like a prisoner to your own systems. The endless email chains, the non-stop Slack channels, the project management tools. It's a trap. And the scariest part, most of us don't even see the bars.
And all of this leads to what we can call the productivity paradox. It's this really cruel irony of the modern workplace. The tools that promise to make you more efficient are actually stealing your effectiveness. You feel busy, you're spinning your wheels, but the needle just isn't moving on the things that truly matter.
So, why is this stuff so hard to resist? I promise you, it's not because you lack willpower. It all comes down to neuroscience. Let's peel back the curtain and look at what's actually happening inside your brain during this storm of distraction.
Okay, so what you're seeing here is a vicious cycle. It all starts with task switching, jumping from your email to Slack to a browser tab. That leads to mental fatigue, which just drains your focus. So what does your brain do? It seeks a quick, easy reward, which creates this dopamine loop. And over time, this actually rewires your brain for instant gratification. And finally, that creates a state of dependence, where it gets harder and harder to resist just checking. It's a cycle that just feeds on itself. Every single time you switch tasks, you leave behind something called attention residue. Think of it like this. You're trying to have a deep conversation with someone, but you left the TV on in the background. Even though you've turned away, part of your brain is still processing that noise, and it's fragmenting your ability to focus on what's right in front of you.
So what's the real cost of that residue? Well, research from UC Irvine found it takes an average of 23 minutes. 23 minutes to fully get your focus back after just one interruption. Now, just think about your last hour. How many times did your phone buzz? Do the math. The cost to your productivity is absolutely staggering.
So this shows the two critical modes your brain operates in. On the left, you've got focused attention. That's your get things done, task-crushing mode. But on the right is the default mode network. This is your brain's creative engine. It's where you have those aha moments in the shower. The big problem is all that constant digital noise keeps you stuck in task mode, and it literally blocks access to your most innovative breakthrough ideas.
Okay, we've seen the damage. It's pretty clear. So how do we start to fix it? Well, the very first step is to find the leaks. You have to map out exactly where your mental energy is escaping before you can even think about plugging the holes. Seriously, awareness is the first step to taking back control. The source material suggests a really simple 3-day attention audit. On day 1, you'll probably just feel surprised at how often you're switching tasks. By day 2, that turns into frustration, because now that you're aware of it, every distraction feels louder. But by day 3, that's when you get clarity. You finally start to see the emotional and situational triggers that are pulling you away from your work.
And your audit is probably going to reveal 3 main culprits. First, environmental triggers. Your phone just sitting there on your desk begging for attention, or all those open browser tabs. Second, emotional triggers. That feeling of stress or boredom or anxiety that makes you instinctively reach for a distraction. And finally, the most dangerous one, trigger stacking. It starts so innocently with just a quick glance at the time, and before you know it, you're 10 minutes deep down a social media rabbit hole.
All right, so now that you have this awareness, now that you know what you're up against, it's time to build your defenses. This next part is all about your action plan. We're going to construct what the source calls your focus fortress.
And let's be really clear about this. This is not about willpower. Trying harder is a losing strategy, trust me. The real solution is all about environmental design. You need to build a space, both your physical space and your digital space, where focus is the default. It's the path of least resistance.
This slide shows you the 3 core systems for structuring your day to make that happen. First, time blocking. This is where you schedule dedicated, uninterrupted sessions for deep work. Second, creating distinct work modes for different tasks, like having a deep work mode versus a communication mode. And third, using transition rituals to consciously help your brain shift between those modes.
Another really powerful tool is something called tech fasting. Now, this isn't about abandoning technology forever, not at all. It's about starting small, with daily micro-detoxes, like just taking a walk without your phone. Those build up to weekly fasts for a dopamine reset and even monthly sabbaticals. These small, consistent breaks create a massive compound effect over time.
And please, remember, this is not a quick fix. It's a real transformation. The source outlines a 90-day roadmap. You start with the foundation phase, which is just simple observation. Then you move to implementation, where you start adopting these core habits. And finally, optimization, where you fine-tune the whole system. It's a structured path that makes lasting change feel actually achievable.
So what's the real payoff for all this effort? Well, it's so much more than just feeling less stressed out. It's about gaining a powerful, almost unfair competitive edge. Let's take a look at what your focused future could be.
Just consider the case of Adobe's CEO, Shantanu Narayan. His disciplined, unwavering focus was the driving force that took the company's revenue from $3 billion to over $19 billion. This is hard proof that in a chaotic market, sustained attention isn't some soft skill. It is the ultimate economic superpower.
Think about it for a second. Right now, your competition is scattered. They're reactive. They are drowning in the exact same digital noise that you are. In a world that's literally defined by distraction, the leader who can truly, deeply focus holds the ultimate advantage. The only question left is, are you ready to make it yours?
All right, let's dive into a guide that promises to help us get back our most valuable asset, our focus. We're going to break down the 7-day digital distraction audit to figure out, where our attention is really going, and more importantly, how to get it back.
Okay, let's be honest. Does this sound familiar? You start your day with a great plan. You're always busy. You're replying, you're clicking, but then you look up, it's 5 p.m., and you honestly can't point to a single meaningful thing you actually finished. It is such a frustrating feeling, and it's so common.
And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? Our attention isn't just divided anymore. It feels like it's been shattered into a million tiny pieces all over our digital lives. It might feel like you're being productive in all that chaos, but let's face it, most of the time, it's just chaos.
So, if we're going to fix this, we really have to diagnose the problem correctly. And this guide makes a really powerful argument that we've been looking at this whole thing the wrong way.
And this right here, this is the core idea of the entire audit. The issue isn't that we lack the right tools or apps or to-do lists. The real fundamental problem is that our very ability to direct our attention is being worn down. So the big takeaway is this: we have to learn to manage our attention, not just our time.
Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty and talk about the cost of those little quick checks. You know what I'm talking about. A quick glance at an email, a fast reply to a message. It turns out they have a way higher cost than any of us realize. This brings us to a really key concept called attention residue. Think of it like that mental fog you feel right after an interruption. So even when you've physically gone back to your main task, part of your brain is still stuck thinking about that last email, and that just tanks your performance. And this example just illustrates it perfectly. Imagine you are deep in concentration on something important, say a strategy document. You just take 2 little minutes for a quick check on Slack. When you get back to the document, you are not operating at 100% anymore, not even close. That attention residue is now clouding up all your thinking. So what's the real damage? Well, a single 2-minute quick check doesn't just cost you 2 minutes. No way. It actually costs you nearly half an hour of degraded, lower quality focus. One tiny interruption can poison a full 30 minutes of what should have been deep work. I mean, that's just staggering when you think about it. Okay, so now that we get the cost, we need to find the source of the leak. According to this audit, our attention is basically draining away through 3 main cracks in the dam.
And this table breaks it down so well. First, you've got your external interruptions, notifications, pings, calls. Then you have internal impulses, that little voice in your head that whispers, hey, let me just check one thing. And finally, there's habitual autopilot, which is when you open up social media without even consciously deciding to. Just looking at this, which one of those feels the most familiar to you?
All right, let's start talking about the solution. The whole audit frames this process not as some painful chore, but as an investigation. For 7 days, you get to become a detective of your own focus.
In this is probably the most important rule of the whole thing. The first week is not about fixing your habits, it's just about seeing them clearly. The goal is just honesty, not perfection. You're simply an impartial scientist gathering data on your own behavior. And that simple shift removes all the pressure and guilt. So how does it actually work? Well, it's a really simple daily loop. A quick 2-minute check-in in the morning to set your intentions. Then, throughout the day, you just make a quick note of any significant distractions as they happen. And finally, a 5-minute reflection in the evening to spot the patterns. That's it. It is a tiny, tiny investment of your time for a massive potential return.
This image just captures the idea so perfectly. You are putting your own habits under a magnifying glass so you can finally see the fine print, the triggers, the patterns, the hidden costs that you would otherwise never, ever notice.
Okay, so here's where we get to a much deeper question. What if our distractions aren't just random failures of willpower? This audit suggests they're actually signals trying to tell us something really important about our emotional state.
This is called the distraction decoder, and the idea is that an urge to check your email might actually be your brain's way of avoiding a really hard decision. That mindless scrolling on social media, maybe you're just bored or frustrated with the task in front of you. Suddenly, your distractions become clues to what's really going on inside.
So you do your 7 days of detective work. What's the end result? Well, it's not just another generic list of tips. It's something much, much more powerful.
What you get is a personalized focus blueprint. Because you've gathered your own data, you know exactly what your biggest leaks are, what triggers them, and even when your peak focus hours are. So you can design a system that works for your own unique brain and your own unique challenges.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the transformation, right? It's a shift from being busy to being effective, from feeling that constant low-grade anxiety to feeling calm and in control, from just reacting to everything that comes your way to intentionally focusing on what truly matters. This right here, this is the promise of the audit.
So, we have to end with this question. After seeing all the hidden costs and the real damage, you have to ask yourself, what is my scattered attention truly costing me? In my career, in my goals, in my own peace of mind? The answer to that question, that's your motivation to start.